Hey, good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday morning. Every Tuesday, 9 o'clock Pacific, we are here at Mortgage Coach to put on the best sales meeting in the mortgage industry. I'm Dave Savage, CEO of Mortgage Coach, and today I have Justin Brown. What's up, Justin?
How you doing, man?
Yeah,
nice to see you.
Good to see you. Thanks for making time.
Yeah, definitely.
Last time I think we had you in the community, you were doing Script Palooza. And got a lot of great feedback from that script. By the way, do you remember what script you did?
Yeah, I still use it. It's about using like a dollar value with your pitch. So I use my turn times and speed on how I'm going to save them money on their offers and save them money on, if rates keep increasing because it takes you 4 months to find a property, that's going to cost you more in the long run. If you're competing with bank pre-approval, or if there's 30 offers on the table, 5 offers on the table, the only way your offer is going to stand out is if you pay more money than everybody else, right? Well, if I can make your offer as strong as cash by having no loan contingencies, closing in 12 days, I pay the per diem, all of that, well, then you're as good as cash. You don't necessarily need to pay $5 grand more than the highest offer. So see how that could save you money? Oh yeah, So yeah, that was my script. I still use it.
You remember it. You remember it. So by the way, folks, Script Palooza was amazing. I think it was the most viewed, I won't say interview because we had 2 hours of some of the best loan officers in the industry on it. I'm going to put a link down below to that. So Justin, this is all about you. Top producer interview. We do have some focus that we want to put around how to get to the buyers before agents. But let's just start off with, tell us a little bit about you. Tell us a little bit about your practice. And then we'll get into some big ideas.
Yeah, so I've been originating since about 2009, but I've been in the business since around 2000. I started as a processor for about 10 years before I actually went off on my own. So since I've been originating, I've been hitting the 90, $100 million mark. 2 years ago, I went down about 35%. And now I'm trending back up. So right now I have 3 LOAs, 1 admin and 1 marketing assistant. Right now I'm at about 46 mil for the year, 120 units. So I'm trending for about 70 mil, 180 units, getting back on pace to where I need to be.
And where did you end up last year, just so we can get a feel for how you're doing?
Last year I was at 60 mil, 160 units.
Well, congratulations. I mean, in today's market, for you to be having an up year, you're not the norm. There are a lot of loan officers that are flat, and there's a whole lot more that are down. So congrats on the success.
Thanks.
So what are your primary lead sources? If you could just walk us through where you're getting business, how you're getting business.
Yeah, in order of like volume source, it's going to be realtors, and then database, and then business professionals.
And when you say
where it all comes from.
And when you say business professionals, you mean like CPAs, financial planners, any particular one type of planner better than the others?
No, CPAs. I'm getting a pretty equal amount, it seems, from CPAs and financial advisors right now, financial planners. But that hasn't been a focus. That's just been organically that I've had that, and I've stayed in front of them. But this year I have been trying to step it up and include them in my prospecting a lot more.
Well, I think I'm hearing that more and more. I know when you and I were doing the prep call, you also mentioned that you've got a company that's going to, put you in front of all their employees and help you, you've got an employee benefits strategy.
Yeah. So I have a past client who I was doing an update. They wanted like a refi quote or something. And I was looking at her old app and I realized she's the HR director for a hospital. So just, hey, do you guys ever allow people to come in and do classes or seminars? And she's like, yeah, great idea. So it's a pretty big hospital around here, and she's the HR director, runs the whole thing. And I think we're planning sometime in October for me to go in there and start doing some seminars for first-time home buyers. And then I'm using it to reach out to another financial planner that I'm prospecting, say, hey, do you want to come in on this with me? And they're all excited about it too. So yeah.
Love it. Well, I think, in today's market, it's more and more obvious that the top loan officers, local referral-based originators, you need to get more leads and you need to get to the buyer before agents. If you could just speak to how you're doing that with your past customers. Also, how many past customers do you have in your database?
Well, at this point, I have like 1,300 in there, so it's grown a lot. I'm still looking for like the secret sauce on how to get in front of all the buyers before the realtors, but my past client and database business has grown a lot this year. I used to just, take care of like my top 50 past clients. So I do coaching with the core, and they advocate, your top 50 past clients. And I've always done that, but I've actually expanded it as of December of last year to all my past clients. So I mail to my whole database every month. And in addition to, videos, emails, notifications, I do events. So every event I do every month, my database is seeing we're giving away stuff, doing charity or whatever. But once I started adding that mail component to them, I started getting calls from people from 2009, 10, 11. Hey, remember me? Yeah, I've used other people for my loans, my last 2 loans. But yeah, it's funny because I haven't heard from these people in a long time. And a lot of them have used other people since, but they're all coming back. I'm getting hit up from them. And I was talking to somebody the other day, just how important, how noisy the marketplace is right now with Facebook, with social media. My feed, I don't know about you guys, but my feed is just flooded with like loan officers and realtors all over. And, when you used to be able to just send out like a calendar once a year and like a birthday card once a year, that used to work to kind of keep in front of them. But technology's changed so much that you have to stay in front of them, it seems like weekly, to some capacity for them to like think of you and really, the first year when somebody buys a home, the first year they're going to remember you and be all excited about it, but time fades. So you have to stay in front of your database. It's super worth it.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. And, I interviewed Cody Touche last Tuesday. By the way, folks, I'll put a link to Cody's interview down below too. And he said, hey, I've got 2,000 customers, but I have 500 that I really focus on. Now, he does a semi-annual mortgage review. So every 6 months, he's doing some type of mortgage review. I know you have some cadence around that, but how often are you doing mortgage reviews?
Yeah, I think every quarter my system will look at like the average rates and then compare it to my database, and it'll send out like a proactive email giving them like a red light, green light, or yellow light. If it's a green light, it's like, hey, it's worth a call. Let us know if you're interested. Yellow light's like, hey, it's borderline. It's worth taking a look. And then red light's like, no, you're good. So that goes out on its own through Surefire or Top of Mind that I use. But this hasn't happened in a while. But in the past, when I would see rates drop 1/4 or 0.5% when we were in a rate environment that it was going down a lot, I would then proactively send out a video, a slide broadcast, a bomb to my whole database of like, hey, if you're getting this, give me a call. I would like look up, let's say rates went down 0.5%. I would then, okay, I want everybody with this rate on FHA or lower or higher, and on conventional this rate or higher to get this video. So I would dig into my database, identify what target rates and audiences I'd want to see it, and I'd blast it out. If you're getting this, call me. And I remember I went on a refi run where I probably did 40 quotes, 40 MCAs within like a weekend. It was nuts. I wish that was happening now, but
yeah, no doubt. Well, we still are seeing a lot of loan officers doing the annual reviews, regardless of whether the rates are better or not, just because it's a great opportunity to have a strategic client, have a great conversation, manage that mortgage, and, get referrals. So
staying in front of them.
No doubt. And by the way, folks, if you have questions, please post those. Let Justin know what questions you have for him. I'll bring it into the conversation. We did set this interview up to be, ad hoc and unplugged. So please bring in your questions. So let's talk about your competitive advantage, because let's face it, rate shopping, at least what I'm hearing in the market, has never been higher. How are you positioning yourself to the buyer and to the realtor, and how are you positioning your competitive advantage?
So a couple of different ways. And it changes, it evolves depending on the market. But there's this book, Rating Fans, that just talks about creating this experience. It talks about, there was this grocery store that had valet parking, and it had somebody that, you walk in and show them your grocery list, and they tell you how to, like, what aisle to start in and map it out for you or something crazy. And people drive like an hour to go there. So that's part of creating that experience, right? Where people will pay more and do more to work with you. So I've always been working on creating a process, an experience with my team where, when they come in, sending thank you cards to the referral source, when they get pre-approved, sending them a really nice customized, box with a bunch of tchotchkes and home buyer stuff in it, sending videos out. I do a 12-week video campaign on every lead. So every week they get a mortgage minute from me that, one video is like, hey, it's something you should know about home warranties or home inspections, buying down rates. What is a rate made of? How to improve your FICO score, stuff like that. In process gifts, sending them really nice gifts during the process, some Tiffany champagne glasses at closing, all sorts of stuff on the experience part, right? There's that, but then there's also, using technology to help assist with that, creating transparency and trust with like mortgage cost and, total cost analysis. That's been huge for me just as part of the experience in creating that trust and relationship. Now with realtors, that's important to them that their clients have that type of experience. But with them, there's the whole, marketing aspect where I show them, look how much I farm the database. And I explain to realtors, and this is part of my pitch to them, my value pitch to them is, look, you're not going to do this. You're not going to stay in front of your database the way I do. So I co-brand everything. I'm with, New American Funding now. They add the realtors and the loan officers to the mortgage statement. So that's like another level of service I could add. But I explained to the realtors, hey, look at your feed. Look how much noise you see in the marketplace right now. How do you think you're going to stand out with your clients? Sending that calendar once a year, sending that birthday card is not going to work. They're going to use a different realtor, or they're going to refer somebody else, or not refer you at all, because they're going to forget about you. So I talked to them about staying in front of their past clients with mail, videos, events, all that stuff. And it's overwhelming to them when they see everything I really do. And part of my, pitch to them and value is, look, I just co-brand you. I'll do it all because I do it anyways. And then I'll just use MailChimp or whatever service I have, top of mind. And we just co-brand you at the bottom of it. So they love that.
Love it. So from a borrower's perspective, your experience leads, by the way, what percentage of your clients get a total cost analysis?
100%.
Love it. By the way, did you notice that, folks, the best way to deliver the best experience is be consistent. And if the family's not getting a total cost analysis, they're not getting the best experience you could deliver. So everybody's getting that. That's part of the core value prop. And then from a realtor standpoint, you are walking them through how you manage a database, making the case that there's no realtor, there's no loan officer that manages and touches a database the way you do. And that's part of the value prop, why they refer you. So are you making the case that you're gonna get more referrals from me? Is it part referrals, or is it truly just the marketing touch points?
Well, yeah, it's the marketing touch points does lead to the referrals. If you're not in front of your database, how many referrals do you think you're missing out on? Versus if you're in front of them every month, the way I am. And I explained the scenario of, like, once I started expanding it to my whole database, look what started happening. Getting the people from 2008-9 that have used other lenders but are now coming back. And I explained the importance of how technology is growing, how social media is growing, and how the noise in the marketplace with Zillow and everything is just it's gonna flood them out. It's gonna drown them out. The clients aren't gonna remember them or think of them as things come up. So I just explained how it's more important. That's how you compete with the Zillows and with the Purple Bricks and all those companies, is you stay in front of your people. You keep that relationship as best as possible.
No doubt. How many realtors are you meeting with on a weekly basis or monthly, or however you measure it?
So I went on a tear to grow my realtor business, because I did about 100 million in production in 2016, but 75% of it was refis. I did 60 million in production in 2017. My business was down, but 90% was purchases. So I went in 2016, January, I had 17 realtor referrals. January of 2017, I had, I think 80 something. January of this year, I had 115 realtor referrals.
Love it.
So my realtor business, so I went on a tear, and to do that, I was meeting with about 17 new realtors a month was my goal. In addition to the current ones I was working with and all of that, meeting with them and all that stuff. But yeah, it's a lot of prospecting, a lot of the same way I farm my database, I was farming the realtors. I was mailing to them every month, and I still do, sending them videos, doing events, lunch and learns, one-on-ones, phone calls, all that stuff.
Well, by the way, we want to focus this call on how to get to buyers before the realtor, but I just got a bunch of people that wanted to know how are you getting in front of that many realtors? So if you don't mind, just give us your, when you call a realtor, what's the ask? Give us some scripting, give us your rhythm to get these realtors in the meetings.
So at the end of the day, like if a realtor already knows you and already sees you and you already have a presence, or if you've already met them somewhere, it's so much easier to get that appointment. I was coaching a realtor on how to get appointments with business professionals. I was like, just go to a chamber of commerce, get 5 cards, talk to them. Don't even talk to them about business. Just, hey, how are you doing? Whatever. And then call them later and they're going to feel more obligated to meet with you versus you just cold calling, right? So I farm the realtors the same way I hit my database. I'm mailing them promo items each month, like, a couple dollar tchotchkes with my branding on it. I'm sending out videos. I'm doing happy hours. I'm doing lunch and learns, right? So when I do a happy hour or a lunch and learn, I'll ask all my realtors that I know to bring a friend. Who do you know? Anybody that I know is coming, I'll start pushing them to bring people. And then from there, you'll get their card, shake their hand, talk to them for a little bit, and then they're on my target list. Then from there, they're going to get my mail. They're going to get my calls. I'm going to be pushing for an appointment. So just to get started, though, it's just marketing, right? Marketing is staying in front of people in different ways than one. Like you have phone calls, face-to-face, emails, videos. Like you have to flood them with a lot of different things. If you just call every once in a while and you're just like, hey, I want to meet, let's have coffee, I have great programs, that's never going to work. When they see me like marketing and doing all the stuff they want to do, they want to learn how to do it. They want to, hey, how do you do all that? That's awesome stuff. Let's meet. It opens it up. It makes it a lot easier. Now, on the flip side is you have to figure out like some sort of value proposition, and it has to be, it can't be rates. It can't be programs. It has to really stand out. And how are you going to help them make more money? How are you going to help them close more deals? So when I tell them about how noisy the marketplace is, how your clients are going to go somewhere else, you're not staying in front of your database good enough, I'll show you how to do it. And then on the flip side, and this is changing in the market a little bit, and that's why I'm shifting more to the marketing side. And you have to stay in, you have to keep your finger on the pulse of what's happening in the market, because your value proposition could get stale, which I feel my one from Scriptpalooza is going to change. If the market slows down and there's no longer multiple offers, if it becomes a buyer's market, not a seller's market, why is anybody going to want to close in 12 days or remove loan contingencies? How's that going to be important if there's no longer 5 offers to compete with, right? So that was my value proposition first, is look, if you're out there with your clients and you're showing 5, 10 properties and losing out, I could get your clients as strong as cash so that you don't have to show as many properties. We close them a lot quicker, and you could go make more money because you get to spend more time finding new deals versus hand holding this one client for 6 months trying to get them into a contract. So that kind of was my value proposition before, was just how fast we close. I would use my marketing and stuff. And mainly I would just use an existing relationship or them already knowing who I am to get in front of them by all the events and all the marketing I was already doing. Now I'm shifting it into, look, I'll show you how to market like this and how to stay in front of your database like this.
So you are doing it all. And by the way, how many realtors are in your, call it your realtor farm that you're marketing to and calling consistently?
So I took the last 4 months off. I got married. I changed companies a lot. I got my, thank you. I got my 2 sons from my previous marriage full time now. And so a lot's been happening. So I've backed off, but as of yesterday, I actually got back on it. And I'm starting with just my current agents, right? And I had 71. So yesterday I time blocked about 5 hours. I made 46 calls or 47 calls. I talked to 24 people, set some appointments. I have about 24 left today to finish that list. And then from there, my goal is to get back to 17 new realtors a month. Love it. Love it.
By the way, someone just asked, do you use your CRM and MortgageCoach, or do you have an assistant at LOA use your CRM and create your total cost analysis?
My LOAs do create all the total cost analysis for me. I do them too, though. So it just depends. If I'm talking to a client, I'll just throw one together really quick. Because to me, it's huge to have that, to have the accountability for me and the client, to have the numbers in writing, to be able to go back and reference what I told them before, to have clear breakdowns. It's just, for me, I love accountability for the client and for me. So if they ever come back and say I told them something else, which they always do, it's easy to go back and just show them, hey, look, I told you this is what the cash to close would be. Here's the options I gave you. Like on the one you're showing right now, this is a buyer who, what if I want to buy a primary residence with 10% down? What about an investment property with 15% down? What about an investment property with 20% down, right? They want all these scenarios, and so much could get lost in translation. And it's so easy for them to go, a month and then come back to me and tell me I told them something completely different. And this is huge because I could go right back to it and say, no, remember, this is what I told you. The rate was, much higher, 5.75 on this deal or whatever, right? I do also show them the rate watch. So I show them, I educate clients on like the bond charts and stuff like that, and not necessarily so that they could follow it, just so that they could see where it's at as I quote them this. So in the future, if the rates are higher and, they get upset and think I did something, I could show them, well, remember when we spoke on this date? Here's that chart. Here's where it was at. Here's where it's at now.
Love it. So you do use Rate Watch and use that as part of your conversation, which, by the way,
all the time.
Let's do something in a minute here. Let's get into the lead conversion playbook a little bit. But I want to make a strategic point to everybody on this call. And one of the reasons why I wanted to position today's call around lead development. If you look at this chart I have on my screen right now, you'll notice that the biggest category is transaction. It takes up the most space. It has the most steps. Most referral-based local loan officers, that's where they spend all their time. They spend a little bit of time on advice. They spend enough time on lead development to get them to wherever they're at. And then client for life is where I think the industry really falls down. But the model of the future and the mortgage coach model is where you're seeing transaction becoming shorter, more and more automated. And by the way, over the next couple of years, it's going to get even faster, even easier to apply for a loan and to close a loan. And you need to deliver advice. You need to expand that advice piece. It's one of the reasons why I do these interviews and these calls. You need to expand your lead development strategies. And then everybody, I do believe, needs to make sure you're automating a mortgage review. Whatever's relevant for that client, whether it's annual, Cody, semi-annual, he's leveraging his team and doing that annual review. But this is the model of the future. So, when you think about it, what does a family want? Family wants mortgage advice. They want help making decisions. And yeah, they want you to take care of the transaction. And when you think about service, this is price, this is advice. And so everybody needs to expand that. And you need to make sure that the families are getting what they want and how they want. So, by the way, Cody, before we get off, let's just say the mortgage coach total cost analysis part of it. How do you integrate that into your realtor conversation? How is the fact that you're delivering these total cost analysis, how is that valuable to your agents? Or how do you communicate that as valuable to your agents?
So the agents, like one of their main concerns is, closing the loan and closing it on time and getting paid. But another one is their client experience. So that's part of me showing them the client experience that they're going to have, or that the clients are going to have, is that I'm going to educate them. Because one of the biggest frustrations agents have is when the clients start calling them with all their mortgage questions. Hey, what's the payment on this? Or, hey, I wasn't explained this. They just feel like their clients weren't educated at that point. And I get that complaint a lot. So by me showing them, and that comes up, sometimes I do it proactively, and sometimes the agents will just start complaining about it. And I'm like, oh, well, watch this. Check out what I do. To make sure the clients are educated and they have access to this. And you'll get a notification where you could see it every time they open it, and I can make adjustments. And that's pretty much the whole part of it, is that they see that I'm educating their clients and making their jobs easier.
Got it. So you're positioning it as improved borrower experience, improved communication. So it's a more efficient and effective, and it's something visually tangible that you could show them. Do you ever show them on the app, or how do you usually drive that experience?
Yeah, it depends. If I have my iPad or my app, I'll just show them right there from that. I'll show the realtor some samples.
Beautiful. So reminder to everybody, make sure you have your app handy. Make sure you know how to bring in that conversation. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen because we've got a few more questions here. How would you define winning the day and winning the week? What is that winning the day, winning the week for you?
For me, it's there's a lot of components to it, but the main one is like I talked to you before about starting my day off right. I'm usually up at like 4 a.m. I'm at the gym at 5. Not usually, I am up at 4 a.m. every day. I'm at the gym at 5. at home in my driveway, usually by 6. I meditate. I do some journaling, affirmations, my goals for the day. I'll go in and have coffee with my wife, spend some time with the kids, drive my son to school. I'm in the office by 7:45 or 8. And then usually from 8 to 9 every day, I'm planning my day or spending time reading a book or focusing on studying something with marketing or sales, or I'm working on my business. So like today, I'm working on switching over to Jungo, to Salesforce, and I'm trying to build out a fully customized process with auto text notifications where it'll text the realtor, 5 days before the client's birthday every year. So just random stuff like that. So this morning, I spend an hour working on goals, working on studying, or working on my business. And then by 9, I'm fired up. I have good energy. I feel good. I was at the gym. I'm happy with my family. I spent time with them. I've worked on my business. And by 9, I'm fired up and ready to hit my calls, meet with my team, or attack my day. So from there, if you look at my calendar, it's pretty time blocked for the week. I want to prospect at least 4 to 5 hours a day. I want to work on my business an hour a day. I want to meet with my team at least 30, 45 minutes a day. And then I have open time slots for following up with clients, or, working on any issues and stuff like that. But winning the day for me is starting it off right and in a position of just power and clarity. And then sticking to my time blocks and making sure those time blocks include, prospecting.
Love it. Love it. So I've interviewed a lot of top producers, and not everybody gets up at 4, but by the way,
Yeah.
Kudos to you. I'm an early riser too. I try to make sure I'm always up by 5, between 4 and 5. But, everybody bookends their days. They're very intentional around the work that they do. And so every top producer is bookending their days. And I know there's a lot of new loan officers. In fact, I think that question came in from a new loan officer. Would love to know, what do you think is the amount of time, whether you're new in the business, that needs to be time blocked for prospecting on a daily basis, weekly basis? Any leadership that you have for folks there, and how much
Minimum.
do you time block for that?
Yeah. Minimum 4 hours a day, minimum. Before I started originating, when I was a processor, I tried a stint as an account manager around 2007 for a company, First Choice Mortgage, that did nothing but stated loans. And so it was perfect timing. It was right when the stated loans started going away. One of the things I did, though, is as an account rep, I made sure I would not go home unless I had like five new loans to submit. So I was out pounding the pavement all day, just prospecting. When I started originating, same thing. I spent, I was going out hitting realtor offices, going to financial advisor offices, going to CPAs, going to Chamber of Commerce's, joining BNI groups. All I did was prospect. So as a new loan officer, or as a current loan officer, 4 hours a day minimum. Otherwise, your business won't grow. Because you will find a million other things to do every day, regardless. You'll find lots of things that keep you busy besides prospecting. You have to treat it like you're picking your kids up from school. Like if you have to pick your kids up at 3, you're going to be there around 3 or at 3, and you just, even if the client calls or a fire comes up, I got to go. I'm sorry, right? You have to treat prospecting the same way. You have to have that mindset shift of treating it like a fire.
And that, again, I hear that from every top producer I've ever interviewed, that their prospecting is their number one priority. Great short video. I think it's like 10 minutes. Josh Metal, Grateful for Greatness. He talks about his prospecting regimen for not only himself, but for his branch. And then he talks about how they prepare for that. Incredible interview. Check it out below. But for all you new loan officers, can't emphasize that enough. And for anyone who's just not hitting your goal, it probably comes down to not prospecting enough. So I want to try to bring this back to getting to more buyers in front of the realtors. Let's break up your prospecting time, and let's minus realtor prospecting. And how much time are you spending, your database, advisors, strategic relationships? How are you disciplining? What kind of activity are you spending to get out there and get in front of, get to the buyers before realtors do?
Yeah. So like I was saying before, there's videos, emails, mail, events. There's a lot of stuff happening to my database nonstop, right? Multiple times a month. And in addition to that, I am calling through my past client list every Wednesday. So I used to do just the top 50, but now we have the entire past client list where I just do it alphabetical order. Every Wednesday, I just try and get through at least 30 A's. And then I move on to the B's, C's, D's, etc. And by the end of the year, I could usually touch everybody once or twice. So it's not like I'm overwhelming them with calls or whatever, but it's just part of my prospecting. On Tuesdays, I do Tuesday updates where I'm calling every client in contract and just doing like a check-in, kind of like when you're at a restaurant and you have the waiter, but then the manager comes around every once in a while. Hey, are you doing okay? You need anything? That's kind of all my Tuesday updates are, because my team is pretty dialed in where I don't need to be involved in the loans, but I still, hey, how's it going? Are they taking good care of you? Yeah, you guys are awesome, blah, blah. Oh, that's perfect. And then I'll usually ask for referrals, not as much as I should because it's kind of uncomfortable, but I'll get into like, hey, I get coached, and one of my coaches always yelling at me saying I don't get enough current client referrals. And he says it's either because I suck or I'm not asking. So hopefully I don't suck. No, you guys are great. All right. Well, I figured I'd ask. That's my script for asking for referrals, is just blaming on somebody. So I tell my team the same thing. Every time they talk to a client, I tell them, every time you guys get a compliment, you have to get in the habit of, hey, Justin's always on us saying we don't get enough current client referrals, and it's because we either suck or we're not asking. So I figured I'd ask, and hopefully we don't suck. No, whatever. So that's an easy script. Wednesday, calling my past clients in alphabetical order, trying to touch them at least once or twice a year. There's certain ones I just take right off the list, or I just have, I don't know, it just depends. And then business professionals usually on Thursdays, and then on Fridays I call my pre-qualified past clients, or my pre-qual clients that are out shopping.
Love it. So, and by the way, folks, did you hear the structure? He's got structure. I guarantee you, these are time blocked. These are scheduled activities. Yeah. He's rocking it out. One loan officer heard your production from past years. He is at 46 million for the year, 120 units. So answer to the question from, I think that was Jack, or no, that was Brad. Someone had said, ask where the links are. When I'm referencing these links that will be down below, I'm referring to the YouTube. Once this is posted on YouTube, down in the description below, we'll have links. I will try to get someone on my team right now, if anyone can hear, to post a link in chat of Zoom, or a link in the comments of our Facebook Live. So someone also asked, would you be willing to share the email template you use when you forward a total cost analysis to a family? Do you mind forwarding that along?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, so I'll figure out how to post that. Maybe we'll put it in our Facebook group. Actually, do you mind if we just post that in our Facebook group?
Yeah, no problem.
So anybody watching this, Mortgage Coach Productivity Mastermind, check it out. There'll be a link to that. Let's see what other questions we have coming in. So what advice do you have for loan officers that are struggling? I mean, not everybody's having an up year. Not everybody is even at top producer status. I mean, again, you're a leader in the industry. You get coached. What advice do you have for any loan officers that are struggling in today's market?
Honestly, so I told you how I did about 100 mil in 2016, 75% refi. And then going into the end of the year, I think that was when Trump got elected, refi started drying up around October, right around the election time, rates shot up. And I went into survival mode. I started prospecting double. Because I just wasn't gaining traction with the realtors. I just got into survival mode where I just knew I had to do it. And I started pounding the phone like crazy, my goal was to meet 17 new realtors a month and all that. So if you're struggling as a loan officer, you have to treat the prospecting like a fire. You have to prospect 4 or 5 hours a day. If you do anything short of that, and prospecting isn't like make a phone call, all right, you hang up and then, you go downstairs, go get something to drink, take 10, 15 minutes to check some emails, and then you make another call. It's not 3 calls an hour. It's call. I have a dialer and a headset that I use. It's prospecting. Doing pop buys is fine, but if you're not following up with phone calls, you're wasting your time. If you're going to open houses, that's fine, but if you're not following up with phone calls, you're wasting your time. So they say if you're doing the prospecting but you're not getting the results, you're either talking to the wrong people or you're saying the wrong things. So if there's any loan officers out there that are doing the work or putting in the time and still hitting roadblocks, then you need to work on your marketing and sales skills. You need to figure out who you're targeting, how you're targeting them, and you need to start getting strategic about it. Talk to other loan officers that are having success and just copy their strategies. That's really what it comes down to. You're either not doing prospecting, you're not prospecting enough, or you're not doing it right.
So if there's anyone on this call and you feel like, hey, I'm doing the work and I'm not getting the results, put a post in our Facebook group, and I'll recommend some interviews for you. And that actually gave me an idea for some upcoming interviews and calls. Because I do think there's people that fit in two buckets. Either they're not doing the work, they're either not disciplining themselves, they're not structured enough, they're just not putting in the time. Or I believe there's people putting in the time that aren't having the results they want. I would like to know, where are you at? So I can create some content, forward some messages that help get you unstuck. I really do want to know. So if you're on this call, put a post. I might even post some type of a survey after this call. Keep an eye on our Facebook group for some leadership there. And now you may have the same answer, but for any new loan officers that, hey, let's just say they're in their first year in their business, any advice you have for new loan officers, or how would it be different if it's different?
When it comes to marketing, the advice I'd have is definitely have a database and stay in front of everybody. Get emails from everybody you come in contact with. When I started originating, that's the first thing I did is I signed up with you guys. You probably see I signed up with you guys around 2010. And then I also had this service, Velma. I think it was like $60 a month, and it just did newsletters every week for me. So my goal was just to get emails from everybody and just stay in front of them. And then know your guidelines. That's really the next best thing. Is you need to prospect, you need to have the sales skills, but you also need to have the product knowledge. You need to know what you're selling.
So you guys need to get after it. Get a database, use your database, consistently communicate. By the way, so it sounds like you started using MortgageCoach, right away. What's your advice to a new loan officer? Should they get it day one? Should they wait a month?
Yeah.
And how should they implement MortgageCoach total cost analysis?
You have to stand out, right? Like I was saying before, it's a noisy marketplace right now with loan officers, realtors, all that. So if you want to stand out, then you're going to have to, create that relationship. You're going to have some nice tools, some technology. One of the comments I've always gotten since I've been using MortgageCoach since the beginning, if you look on like Yelp, I have like 100-something Yelp reviews. A lot of them in the beginning would talk about like the technology, like, oh, he's, cutting edge, or, and a lot of it was just the MortgageCoach, stuff that I would send. So if you're newer, you're trying to build rapport, you're trying to create relationships, it's a huge tool that helps with that.
So guys, I want to just go visit the lead conversion playbook real quick. Could you confirm you can see it on my screen right now?
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah. So guys, and this just reminds me, because this thing, it applies to prospecting. Well, this is lead conversion. At the end of the day, if you're not doing all of this consistently and doing it well, you're working hard, but you're not working smart. And you're not going to have the confidence to show up with realtors. You're not going to have the confidence to show up with your database if you aren't doing this stuff. So I'm not going to go through this line by line, but I do want to remind everybody, if you have not read this, study it. If you have read it, go back and scan it and rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 5 or 1 to 10, 10 being, I am killing it. I am executing well in this category. But I wanted to go down, and by the way, just for anyone that's looking at it for the first time, there's 4 core principles that we believe in from a lead conversion standpoint, that all the best loan officers that have the best conversion rates, they embody these 4 principles. And then we have these 12 or 13 strategies. And it's interesting, of all the strategies in conversion, there was only 2 of these conversion strategies that also made it to our lead generation. And I want to bring this up because you brought it. You mentioned reviews, but the 2 strategies that made lead conversion was, 1, the total cost analysis, because if you're giving that total cost analysis to every family, their advisors seeing it, other family members are seeing it, and it creates referrals. So it's not only a great lead conversion strategy, it's a great lead generation strategy. By the way, could you speak to that real quick, Justin? And then I want to talk about reviews for a few minutes.
Yeah, no, using the mortgage total cost analysis as like a lead conversion strategy.
Well, not just as a lead conversion, but how it actually helps generate leads too, because it's shared by family members. An advisor might see it. Talk about it, how it's kind of shared and how it also helps create new opportunities.
Yeah, it just gets them talking about you when they're excited about something. Like when I show this to like financial advisors and show them the tax benefits and how they could use it, the reinvestment strategies to help them with, you know, more services to their clients, they love it. They then like start telling their clients like, oh, make sure Justin shows you this analysis that he showed us. When I show clients like the tax advantages of, you know, of owning a home, what it's going to do for them, and I really break it down and educate them, I know they're talking about it, and that's just part of the overall impression that they get from me. You know, that's part of it, is that education and excitement that they get from just really seeing and understanding the numbers, feeling like I'm educating them, feeling like I'm transparent, that they can trust me, and then it just creates a raving fan. It's just part of the whole package.
Beautiful. So the takeaway, it's not only important for conversion, it also helps you get in front of the buyer sitter because you're going to get more referrals from it. Now let's talk about online 5-star reviews, because I know you mentioned that you've got 100 Yelp reviews, and that's another example of it's only 2 things made it, but online reviews made it in terms of they help with conversion. You know, the more 5-star online reviews you have, the better off you're going to be at conversion, but they are also a source of new business. So if you could speak to that real quick.
Yeah, it's huge. I don't even know. I have like 150, 160 Yelp reviews, probably 100 Zillow reviews, probably 100 Google reviews. So we're always pushing to get reviews and to grow it. I actually started using Yelp on accident like 6-7 years ago, when it was like not too many lenders were using it at all. And somebody ripped me off on a web page, and I gave him a bad Yelp review, and then he retaliated, created a fake account, and gave me a bad one saying I stole like $5,000 from him on his loan. I'm like, I don't even collect money. What are you talking about? Nobody gives me cash. And I called Yelp, and they're like, sorry, you know, the best thing you could do is just contact your past clients and ask them to give you good, or, you know, try to get good reviews to offset it. So I blasted out an email all, you know, frantic to my database. Hey guys, can you help me? I got this fake review. And next thing I know, I had like 12 reviews or 13 reviews within that week from past clients. And then like a couple weeks later, I got a call like, hey, I found you on Yelp. And it grew from there. So I started focusing on it. But when I was doing a lot of refis, there's months I'd close 8 to 12 deals a month from Yelp. That's completely changed. The algorithms changed. It's not like that anymore. I'm lucky to close 1 a month from Yelp. But it's huge when it comes to like, if I'm referred, if a realtor does one of those, I give 3 cards to every client, I don't care. I'm like, go for it. As soon as that client looks me up and looks those other loan officers up, I'm blowing them out with reviews. They automatically, well, I got to talk to this guy. Look at those reviews, you know? And then it helps with SEO. If people are just looking for mortgage brokers or mortgage lenders in my area, my SEO rankings are a lot stronger because of having all that, the different presences on the different review sites. And I think Yelp has some relationship with Google where it helps your rankings even more.
Yeah, I don't know. By the way,
it's huge.
It is huge. I mean, through all the interviews that I've done, as I've created these playbooks for both conversion and lead gen, everybody who's killing it is putting focus on online reviews, making sure they're collecting them, making sure they're organizing them so they can promote them and bring them into the conversation. And it does, it helps. And if you are a referral-based local originators, you've got to have a strategy. You need to be consistent about it on how you're collecting reviews and using reviews. You've got to deliver a total cost analysis. You just implement those 2 things, your conversion is going to be optimized, and it's also going to help you generate more business and get in front of buyers more often. So let's see here. And remember, folks, we've got about 15 minutes. So if you've got some questions, now is time to flood them in. You talked about your morning rituals. We've got your first 60 days. We know what winning the day in week looks like. You mentioned books. You mentioned that you read a lot. If you wouldn't mind giving us some recommendations, not only on books that you love, but books that you would give to a real estate agent or a partner.
Yeah, so I usually give out raving fans to realtors. It's a great book. If you haven't read it, it's an easy read. It's kind of cheesy at first, but it's just a great book about, the importance of creating a process. There's Pitch Anything. That's one I'm reading right now, and that's just awesome. It's a book on sales skills. So I'll tell you guys right now, there's great salesmen that are just naturally good at sales, but there's also a way to learn it. It's also a learned skill that you can get really good at if you practice it. So Pitch Anything is one I'm actually going through a second time right now and studying it and breaking it down. I'm going to try to teach it so that to like realtors, so that it helps me retain it and get better at it. I did 10X from Grant Cardone, and there was another one that was really good though. It was Be Obsessed or Be Average. That one got me all fired up. I was ready to just take on the world. That's when I was crushing it with my realtor meetings. But yeah, Rating Fans is
oh, go ahead.
I would say Rating Fans is an easy, cheap one, great one that realtors love that I would recommend to give as a gift.
Love it. So I want to go back, because you said you were a processor for 10 years. I mean, I don't think there's a lot of loan officers that were a processor for 10 years. So, I mean, is it safe to assume that you did not see yourself as a salesperson during that period?
No, I like that W-2. I like that W-2. I had loan officers. I had the owner of I was at Novastar for a long time, and the branch I was at, the branch manager would like always try to push me to get on the phones and start closing loans. And I was like, nah, I like the W-2. I didn't like sales. I didn't want to sell anything. I didn't want to prospect or cold call. But in 2000, I was an ops manager for a company where I was, they actually had me helping. It was kind of like a car dealership, the way they had it set up, where I was like the deal desk. So you have the salesman on the lot, and then it goes to the finance department, right? Once you're ready to sign papers, they pull you in, and then there's the finance guy who comes out. They kind of had me acting in that role, where they had a lot of telemarketers, and the clients would come in. They had me come in and kind of go over the details and really put it together. I managed the processing department, all sorts of stuff. So that kind of got my feet wet with actually having to sell a little bit. They went out of business in 2008, and I couldn't find a job. So I was making about 120 grand a year in 07, 08. Luckily, I made it through, but then they ended up going out of business, filed bankruptcy. I got on unemployment, and I couldn't find a job that would pay anywhere near what I was used to making. So I almost got out of the industry completely in 2009, but I told my wife at the time, I'm going to give it a shot on my own. We had moved back in with her parents. And I said, in 6 months, if I don't have any traction, I'll go to the police academy or something, just start over. And like I said, I hit it hard 7 days a week. I was just out prospecting, realtors, everything. And I think my 4th or 5th month, I closed 7 loans, and I had like a $40,000 month. And I never looked back. Ever since then, I've been closing loans every month, and it's grown.
Congratulations! What a great story. So there's a lot of talk about Amazon mortgage. Zillow just bought a mortgage company. What are you doing to prepare for the future? And are you worried about tech companies that do mortgages? If you could, one, just speak to it, and then two, speak to your strategy to differentiate.
Yeah. I'm not worried about it. What I'm doing is just trying to stay ahead of the curve with making it, using technology as much as possible to automate as much as possible, using the one-day certainty stuff from Fannie Mae, where there's some loans we don't even have to ask for any income docs because they're in the work number, and we do all of our verifications. So, and then I'm getting going with Jungo, where I'm going to automate a lot. Just trying to use technology as best you can to create that experience, that consistent experience that makes it easy for the client and impresses the client. I think that's huge. But at the end of the day, if you're in your community, if you're in your database, if you have those relationships, they're never going to go anywhere. Yeah, you might not get as much business from Yelp or online, or you won't be able to cast as wide of a net, but you could still crush it in your market, in your local community. I'm not worried about that at all.
I agree. And by the way, everyone, one of my biggest takeaways from my interview with Cody last week was where, here's a guy doing $100 million a year in production on his 3rd year in that level of volume. And he's feeling like, I'm going to have to do more business to make the same income in the future. So I need to do more just to stay where I'm at. And it's about automation. It's about using your CRM. Yeah. There's a lot of great CRMs out there. Most of them all integrate with MortgageCoach. Some of them are automating the annual review. You mentioned Jungo. They have just recently rolled that out to where literally you can, do a search. Everyone who closed last August, click a few buttons, send out an automated mortgage review to that. So, do think about what can I do to automate it? But, the other takeaway I heard from both you and Cody is that you guys are just putting in the work. You're prospecting. I mean, you're time blocking 4 hours a day, everybody, the best, at least 2 hours a day, and you're getting after it. You're calling folks, you're organizing your database so that you can just pure call. It's not like, oh, I make a prospecting call, now let me go look for another person to call. It's like, it's organized. It's like when you're prospecting, you're just getting after it. In Cody's case, I think he's using Phone Burner, he said.
That's what I use.
So that's what you use too. By the way, folks, I've got Cody back this Friday, 9:00 Pacific in mastermind format. And we're just going to drill down on that stuff. So all the questions and the biggest takeaways from this last week, we will be revisiting that this Friday, 9:00. Come. If you have questions, let us know what they are. So you already told me you would forward me your link. And by the way, guys, we got 10 minutes, so we could go into rapid fire questions. I've got a few already. If you have more questions, let me know. But walk us through, you mentioned total cost analysis at the point of sale. I want to make sure everybody really understands how you're crushing it at the point of sale. And then I also want to close on what are you doing with financial planners and CPAs to get them to trust you? Closing thoughts on that. So could you walk us through your borrower experience real quick?
Yeah.
And we'll do financial planner experience.
Yeah, so I have LOAs, and I've gone through many changes on how to handle leads and stuff, where I've gone hands off and hands on, and now I have a pretty good system, I think. So every lead does come to me. I do the initial call. Hey, how you doing? You refer from so-and-so, ask them questions, build rapport. Great. I'm walking into an appointment, but my assistant, Mike, he's awesome. He's been doing loans for X amount of years. He's great. He's licensed. He's going to take care of you. I'm going to have him at least get the process started and get everything together so I can go over the options with you. Perfect. And then I forward it over to my LOA. He jumps on the phone, takes an app, collects the docs, puts the pre-approval together, goes over it with the client, and he actually creates the total cost analysis with the different options the clients want. I then check in with the client after they're pre-approved. Hey, congrats. Awesome. I see they pre-approved you for this. I see these options that he put on here. Do you want to, let's go over them or whatever. Sometimes he'll already do it all. He's been with me for about 2 years. So he's at the point where he's going through all the options with them. But I still ask the client, well, do you want to see any other options? And I try and just interact and engage with them. And then from there, once they're out shopping, I'm checking in every couple of weeks. They're getting my videos every week. They're seeing my seminars that we're doing. And then, once they're in escrow, he's locking the rate, I'm locking the rate. I'm calling every week and checking in on my Tuesday updates. We're doing the gifts. So I'm pretty engaged, but I was talking to my team about it. I'm just taking the important shots. I'm talking to them up front. I'm touching base with them a lot along the way. I'm making sure that they know I'm here, that they have my cell phone number. So that's been working really good with conversions. With financial planners, what I'm doing is I'm actually doing a seminar, I think on Thursday with one. And that's kind of part of it. It's like, hey, let's do retirement seminars. I could, talk about the tax benefits. I could talk about reverse mortgages. The one I'm doing on Thursday, I'm going to be going into reverse mortgages more. But then we've also talked about doing seminars on owning a home and using the tax benefits to create another stream of income or retirement wealth in the future. Financial planners have never been approached with that. So everyone I've gone to and have talked to about, shown MortgageCoach and talked to about, hey, let's get together and do some of this in market. They love it, and it seems unique to them. So it's a pretty easy.
So financial planners are loving, when you show graphs and charts and you show them how you're helping the family achieve their hopes and dreams and their goals, they're resonating that and seeing that as a value prop.
Yeah, I'm showing them the tax advantage, where you can see the tax advantage, like what their tax refund's going to be, the tax benefit. And then I show them the reinvestment strategy side of it. Like, look, if we put this in a mutual fund or something that, pays 5%, on average, after 30 years, you built $400,000 plus have a paid off home. And it's a great opportunity for financial advisors to help their clients, grow other revenue streams or grow other retirement vehicles.
Love it. Now, super smart strategy. And again, Mortgage Coach helps you do that, whether you want to do the Dave Ramsey strategy of prepaying your mortgage, or you want to do the, what's the Rick Edelman. I've interviewed both of them, the Rick Edelman strategy and Invest the Difference. Mortgage Coach will help you do that. By the way, anybody that's a guest to Mortgage Coach on today's call, highly recommend you get a demo. Just go to our website, fill out the demo, or email sales@mortgagecoach.com and learn more about Mortgage Coach. So walk us through how you're getting the meeting with the CPA and financial planner. How are you leveraging your database to get that meeting?
Okay, so we do an all about you form, and then we ask our clients, you know, do you have a CPA? Do you have a financial advisor? Rank them on a 1 to 5. And anytime they rank them below a 5 or they don't rank them, I just ask, you know, why have one I recommend or whatever. So we use that to kind of get back to the ones we have now. Another easy approach is with like trade shows, benefit fairs, and things like that. I hate doing those. I don't like doing the booths and standing there. I'll usually have my team do them here and there. But what I'll do is I'll show up, and then I'll go to all the booths of the financial advisors that are there and CPAs that are there. I'll get their cards, chat with them, and then I start following up for an appointment. Or you could go to a chamber of commerce and just go same thing, get some cards from some of the financial advisors and tax preparers there, and then follow up with appointments. That's the easiest way to get meetings.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. And by the way, guys, we have a whole playlist on how to get business from financial advisors. And that was part of my backstory. There's a book called The Art of Referral, where I wrote my story, you know, back when I founded Mortgage Coach, around how I got business from CPAs and financial planners. I'll put a link to that down below. Check it out. Just give us your script real quick. If you were calling a CPA or financial planner to get the meeting, you know, what's that sound like?
So with the financial planner, it's more about like, look, at the end of the day, if I could help you sell more products, because I have some tools that show the buyers, you know, how they could get an extra $6,000 a year. Or if we adjust their W-9, they could take some of that tax benefit up front now, and then we could set them up on an auto plan where they reinvest it into a vehicle that, you know, you go over with them. It'll just help create more accounts. How many clients have you had that have bought a home that you haven't been able to utilize, you know, using that to get them to open a new account? Well, what if I could show you how to do that? You know, what if I could show you how to, you know, add more value to your database, how to get more accounts for you? It's a great tool. Let me just show you how it works. And then I get in front of them with a mortgage coach and show them that.
Love it. So did you guys check that out? I mean, he's showing the financial advisor how he's going to make his clients invest more with him. And he's doing that through mortgage advice, and he's using a total cost analysis. Would you mind forwarding me a TCA that kind of illustrates that strategy that we could put
no problem.
down below? So if you're watching this, if you look, you're in YouTube, there's a description area down below. We'll have a lot of links to a lot of resources. 3 minutes left. I want to hear your script on how you position a total cost analysis with a family, so that when they get that link, they click on it and they're excited about it. How do you frame it? And what do you call it? Do you call it a total cost analysis, or what do you call it?
No, I just tell them a presentation. And what I really, really do try to do and have my team do is get them on the phone to do it live, because I don't want to overwhelm them with information. I want to make it easy, and I want to use it to build rapport and educate them. So we try to, hey, when can we talk to go over the results, to go over the numbers? When can we meet, right? And then, so I try and position it where I'm going over it with them live every time. I would recommend that. Just, it's a great tool. Afterwards, I send them a recap of what we spoke about. Hey, just, you know, what we discussed, here's the numbers. I always do screenshots. So I'll do a screenshot of the first page that shows the comparisons. I'll do a screenshot of the payment breakdown, and then a screenshot of the fees, the fee detail. And then in the email, I'll paste those screenshots so they just see it right there. And then I put the link in there as well. Beautiful.
So by the way, he talked about getting them live. So strategy number 7 in Lead Conversion Playbook is, hey, get face-to-face. You will get the highest conversion if they come into your office. But the second highest conversion is that live experience where they're on the phone, you've got Mortgage Coach open, you can edit and adjust things. And by the way, number 3 is add a video to it. And by the way, even if you meet with people or you have that live experience, adding a video adds a whole nother layer of value, because now everybody involved in the decision, they have your numbers. in this accurate, dynamic way. And they have a video, which is you just amplifying your humanity and your voice. By the way, do you use the Edge Live feature most of the time and adjust things and move things while you're talking to them?
Yeah, definitely, as much as possible.
Beautiful. Will, my friend, this has been a fantastic interview. Super grateful for the value that you brought to the mortgage coaching community. Any last words of wisdom as we wrap this up? Anything you want to say to your peers and fellow mortgage coach friends?
No, this was great. I think we went over a lot of good stuff. I think just at the end of the day, you have to work on that prospecting and you have to work on yourself. So whether it's sales, marketing, or leadership skills, you have to spend time every day learning something new and getting better at it. And then the prospecting, those are the biggest takeaways that you should get.
Beautiful.
To grow your business.
Thank you, my friend. I look forward to our next interview. Thanks for all the value, and everybody have a fantastic week. For those of you that are new to the community, make sure you connect with us in our Facebook group. If you got value from this, give it a like. So like it, say, I got value, and then share this with your mortgage friends. Take care, everybody. This call is a wrap.
Thank you. Bye.
See you later.
All right, man.